Hello and welcome back to the Carlton Blue podcast. My name is Dan Rolinson and we're here to talk about Wolves 0, Aston Villa 1. A late goal at Molineux again this year. It counts for something. We scored late there last year, didn't we? I think Trezeguet possibly picked up a meaningless goal at Molineux last year. El Ghazi this time with a 94th minute penalty, and it's another win on the road for Aston Villa.
A bit of a rambling intro, wasn't it?
I know, yeah, I got it all wrong, didn't I? I thought I'll tell you how I got it wrong. We just had a message from James Rushton in our works group chat saying that he thought it was a 3 o'clock kickoff and he's missed the whole thing. So not a great start for us here at the Carlton Blue podcast. Have you got your head screwed on correctly?
I have got my screw.
Clearly not.
Right, let's talk about the game.
Okay, that's too loud now. You don't have to sit that close.
Come on, crack on. I've got to get my son's haircut in half an hour, so let's rattle through it. Loads of yellow cards. Brilliant performance by Martinez. 2 players missed the next game. Check out our Petrov podcast. Great to see you.
Oh, this is going brilliant, isn't it? All right, let's compose ourselves. Let's talk about it. I've got some notes for change, so this could keep us back on track. We'll start with Jacob Ramsey being in the lineup. Now, I put on Twitter saying, this is when the team news came out. What does that say for Nakamba and Harahan's Aston Villa careers? And people rightly said, well, Nakamba doesn't really play the same position, which, yeah, that's fair enough. But Harahan, it seemed like he'd be a shoe-in to come in and replace Barkley, who's been missing. And we go back to how we started the season with Ramsey, with Harahan starting games. And then at half-time, I'm seeing people saying, oh, maybe we needed Harahan's experience. Jacob Ramsey hasn't done that great. I thought Jacob Ramsey did okay. I know everyone sees the game differently, but I didn't think he did enough to warrant coming off. And in the end, he's played 93 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think Dean Smith before the game, didn't he? Said that he expected big things of Ramsey, but it was a little bit harsh on Harahan. I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense to blood him properly now. Harahan's coming towards, I think it's in the final year of his contract. The jury's out, isn't it, on the impact that he can make in the Premier League. It's been a brilliant bargain for Villa. I know I'll speak about Ramsey in a minute. He's been a brilliant bargain for Villa, Conor Harahan, and I don't think he owes Villa anything, really. I think, he's obviously had his own journey up through the divisions. To actually get in the Premier League is one hell of an achievement. And we know what he can do from dead ball situations. We know what he can do from dead ball situations. Probably makes him sound more of a one-trick pony than he is. But we know that he struggled to impact Premier League matches by dominating the middle of the park. Probably say the same today for Jacob Ramsey, who didn't dominate, but I thought he was steady. I thought he was comfortable. I don't think he looked like a rookie who was rabbit in the headlights at any stage. I thought that Villa, obviously, I thought Villa, although Wolves, and we'll come to this later, but although Wolves had more shots on target and made Martinez work a lot harder than Patricio did, I thought Villa dominated, which sounds strange because if you look at the possession stats, I think Wolves just shaded it. But I thought that Villa had the better of the midfield and had most of the better approach play. And I think Ramsey was a component in that. I don't think he was outstanding. I think a kind of full 90 minutes or 93 minutes in the Premier League will do him more good than playing Conor Harahan in there when we know all about what Conor Harahan can and can't offer.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would have been quite easy as well for Ramsey to have shied away a little bit today. I know it's not a local derby in the sense that there's fans there and it's a hard atmosphere, but it's still a big game. It was a tough game, and it could have been his first Premier League start, and he kind of moved the ball on quickly and tried to keep it simple. He ran with the ball quite a few times. I thought he was brave. He always wanted to be in possession. It's a good start, isn't it? We've seen good things from him in the League Cup games that he's had. He's coming now and displaced kind of how we all thought we would be expected to come back in. And now you think that if Villa do get hit with an injury in midfield, Douglas Luiz misses out, for example, against Burnley, maybe Ramsey keeps his place now.
Be interesting because there's that decision to make next week now with Douglas Luiz being sent off and missing that game on Thursday. Like you're saying earlier, it's probably Nakamba who's probably going to come in for Douglas Luiz, but that's a dilemma for Smith. Does he think that Ramsey did enough to put him ahead of Harahan? I thought, I was pleased to see him. I think sometimes we kind of clamour a little bit too much for our homegrown players. The kind of one of our own type thing. But I do think Smith. It's a Villa team in transition this year. Yeah. Did the business last year by staying up, trying to kind of kick on this season. Dean Smith wants to look at what Villa can be in the next 2 or 3 years, and with respect to Conor Hourihane, that's probably not going to include him, and we won't know whether it will include Jacob Ramsey unless we see him thrown into situations like this. So, I thought it was an encouraging, very encouraging decision for the manager in the first place to put him in there. And I thought he was promising from Ramsey. I don't think it was anything more than that. I don't think we can proclaim him as a new Jack Grealish Academy graduate world beater. But I think it shows an insight into the workings of Smith's mind, that he wants to kind of give this guy a test to see whether he can kind of make a shirt his own there.
Talk about Emi Martinez. Paula says Martinez proving again what a great ball he was. Like you said, Wolves made him work a few times, but there's a few great saves in there as well. Strong right hand a couple of times. One from Dendoncker, I think, was the standout one. Really good goalkeeper, isn't there? There was one moment I've written it down in my notes where I think one of the defenders is coming towards it, and you can hear him shout "keeper" because of the empty stadium. It's like, he's commanding. You can tell that he's the rock that leads that defence. And as much as they were talking about Matty Cash missing out and that disrupts Villa's back line a bit, you feel confident with Martinez behind them, don't you? That whoever plays in front of them, that last line of defence being Emi Martinez, is usually going to keep more things out than not. You don't expect him to make a silly mistake or anything.
No, I mean, it was that was a crucial moment, wasn't it? Like you said, we'd seen what he can do as a snot stopper. God, I'm struggling it as a shot stopper. Snot stopper. I've never heard that phrase before. We've seen how he can save shots, but it was a really kind of nice insight into his command of the box. That not only did he make that, I think there were bodies flying in when he's done that, when he shouted keeper. But not only has he been brave enough to say, "Yeah, I'm going to take control of this situation," almost to all his defenders, particularly Ezri Konsa, clear out the way. But Konsa's listened to him and thought, well, I trust him enough. This is a hairy situation, but I trust him enough to, if he says he's got it, he's got it. And if you just compare and contrast to the last time that we played Wolves, and probably digging out Neuland a little bit here, but it was the game when Neuland's bowled the ball out to Diego Jota, and I think he spanked it in the stands, fortunately. You don't expect that. You don't expect Martinez to throw one in like that. Which is a good thing. It's a good thing as a football fan, knowing that your goalie is going to come to the rescue. It's a good thing as a defender as well. I don't tempt fate by Martinez dropping one next week. But yeah, some of the saves were brilliant, and
there's also the one where he's come rushing out like a sweeper keeper and took a boot to the neck as well. Bravery is something you want to see in a goalkeeper. If I was playing in that defence, you'd look back and think, I feel comfortable knowing that he's there behind them.
Well, yeah, and we've still got Tom Heaton to come back. It's a position that we're not lacking. Well, we're certainly not lacking in. I think Dean Smith named about 6 goalies in his Premier League squad, didn't he, earlier in the season? But no, I thought it was brilliant. It was thoroughly deserved, and let's face it, it's given Villa the platform to go and get a win that we probably didn't think was going to happen until the dying seconds of the game.
There's a comment coming. There's a lot of comments coming in. I don't know if I'm going to find it. From Prez Omar, who says smash and grab. Love it up the Villa. Would you describe it as a smash and grab? Because as much as you said that, cause it's a weird one, isn't it? Because you were saying that it feels like Villa have dominated the game to an extent, but Wolves have probably had the better chances. And then we've got a nicked penalty that was a penalty and tucked it away. Lovely, El Ghazi did. So does that count as a smash and grab?
I don't think it's quite a smash and grab. I think if Villa had been under the cosh non-stop, listen, I know we've talked about Martinez making a string of good saves, but it wasn't as if it was kind of wall-to-wall Wolves pressure all through the game. But I think any team could have won it in the end. But fair play, we've had some real horrible last gasp setbacks, haven't we, in recent weeks? Kind of VAR has done us over against West Ham. It's done us over against Brighton. So about time. I was going to say. I was thinking earlier, the old cliche, these things even themselves out over the course of the season. I was thinking, well, Villa would have to get about 47 decisions in the last game of the season to even out some of the bad luck that's gone against us. But, even in today's game, there was the shout over whether it was a handball against Romain Sargent. But you've certainly seen those kind of things given against Villa and that bad luck going against Villa. So I'm glad that not only have we had a penalty call that's gone in our favour, and it was a clear penalty, but we've stuck it away in the last minute and got the result that probably our performances in recent weeks deserve, to be fair.
That Sias one was a weird one. But I'm sick of talking about VAR to an extent on these podcasts, but you watch that, and the game carries on, and in about 25 seconds, they've gone, right, yep, check complete, no penalty. And you think, oh, well, they must have watched the replay, and it's clearly hit the side of his face or his stomach or whatever, and it's clearly not a handball. You move on. And then BT show the replay, and his arms come out like this. It's like, then Peter Wharton comes on going, oh, well, his arms come out, and where's he supposed to put his arm? It's not an unnatural position. It's like his arms come out like this. He brought his head down as well, almost as if he's trying to look as if he's headed it. It's a clear handball, isn't it? And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's not cost us because we've gone on and won anyway. But you've seen things less than that given us penalties. So how within 30 seconds they've just gone, yeah, check complete, move on? And that's clearly a handball.
It's all that stuff about. I thought he was talking about a crash test dummy rather than a footballer, because he's talking about the crumple zone, highlighting in little bits of the player's arm with red and green and all this kind of stuff. And it was. I don't know.
It doesn't matter ultimately, but it's just annoying. It's inconsistent again, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like Peter Wharton either. I prefer Mark Halsey.
Mark Halsey would have been all over that. He'd be going, oh, that's a definite penalty.
Your new mate.
Oh, yeah, if you've not seen the Mark Halsey podcast, little plug for that, go back and watch that. I talk about referees while we're on the amount of yellow cards. You got Douglas Luiz gets 2 yellow cards, which we'll talk about. Matty Cash gets 1. John McGinn, Targett, Concert and Grealish all get booked for Villa. Mike Dean picked up his 3,000th yellow card at some point during that in his career. I think 2,000 of those came this afternoon. Very card happy, isn't he, Mike Dean? You knew there was going to be a red card in this game. Ultimately, there was 2 in the end, but that's 2 players that Villa will miss against Burnley now on Thursday. I think that is Douglas Luiz and Matty Cash. Fortunately, I was thinking when it was Matty Cash just suspended, there's one place we can probably get by with having a suspension. It's right back with the amount that we've got, but Douglas Luiz will be a big miss in there, won't it?
Yeah, on the yellow card thing, I've just been reading the BBC's report. I think that they've used the phrase he was dishing out cards like a Las Vegas croupier, which was quite quite nice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Mike Dean. We know that he likes to be the centre of attention. We know that he kind of likes to wheel away celebrating goals against Aston Villa in the past. You've seen that clip, haven't you?
Yeah, the Tottenham one.
Tottenham scored back in the day, yeah. I don't know. I don't think there were any that were blatantly. Do you know what I mean? I'll get my words out in a minute.
Yeah, I don't think there's many that you complain about, but it just seems you don't normally get 6 bookings in a game, do you? Is my point.
No, well,
and listen, Wolves seem to get away with a few as well. I thought as well.
Yeah, but he's levelled it up by the sending off at the end for Martinez. But it's more about what it does for Villa going forward. Matty Cash, Gilbert was on the bench today, wasn't he? So there's Gilbert and Al Mohammadi who were battling for that slot against Burnley. I think it probably will be Nakamba coming in for Douglas Luiz. It's frustrating because we probably haven't heard too much about those players, Luiz and Cash, because it's been Watkins and Grealish and Barkley when he's played, and Trezeguet missing chances. Other people have had the attention, but I think Cash and Douglas Luiz have been 2 of Villa's better players during the start of the season, and this is what we knew would happen. Dan, we've talked about the Villa starting 11, and I think they were saying that 9 of those 11 have been ever presents for most of the season. So, for all of the season if they're ever present. But this is where we get to the point where you've got to scratch beneath the surface and see what Villa's squad looks like. And it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for those guys to come in and give Dean Smith a headache, because I don't think they're going to get too many opportunities. I think Dean Smith knows what we all suspect, that he's got a strong core of 12 or 13 players, and he's going to keep his fingers crossed that he doesn't have to dig too deep beyond that. This is the time of the season where he's going to have to dig deep. Injuries to Barkley, an injury to Trezeguet, and now 2 suspensions. So we've got to see what Villa have got, haven't we? See what the supporting cast have got.
Before we talk about the replacements for those 2, what was the update on Barkley? I remember seeing something the other day. Did they target the Burnley game for his return, or was it the one after that? Do you remember?
Asking the wrong person here, mate.
Yeah, I know. So
we'll get Ashley Bruce to bring you an update on that.
Okay, yeah. So if the possibility of Barkley coming back in, would you have Barkley, McGinn, Ramsey as a 3? Or is that a bit too attacking? Would you, because you've lost the Douglas Luiz role, haven't you? So would you rather have Nakamba, McGinn, Ramsey as a 3, and then Ramsey or Barkley if Barkley's back fit? So does Ramsey just deserve to keep his place?
I think you've got to have somebody who can. You've got to have a proper holder in there, I think, and I think probably you still would put in the camber in there just to do that little bit of kind of patrolling in front of the back four. I don't know. Listen, if Barkley's fit, Barkley comes in for Ramsey, doesn't he? Regardless of how encouraging we think Ramsey's been. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Ashley's probably speaking to Dean Smith as we speak. So we'll see if there's any update on the Barkley situation.
Yeah, that's always one of those things, isn't it? We're doing this bang on full time, so things will change between now and obviously Thursday when we next play. But like you said, if Barkley's fit, he'll come straight back in. Right back, I suppose this is, like I just said, we've got options there. It's Gilbert or Elmo that's going to play. Who would, out of those two, bearing in mind it's Burnley, who would you go for there? Because I think it'll be El Mohammadi that'll play.
I think it possibly will be Al Mohammadi. I'm probably seduced, like a lot of Villa fans, because I like Gilbert. I like his kind of up and at him, kind of real kind of, he's got the pace, hasn't he? And he throws himself into everything. Whereas Al Mohammadi probably does as good a job, but does it with a minimum of fuss, really. I think that Smith might lean towards Elmo. He's tended to have Elmo on the bench, hasn't he? I think we've seen some interviews from Gilbert, haven't we, in the French media early in the season when he's said that Smith made it quite clear that he was third choice now, behind Matty Cash and Ahmed Al Mohammadi. So I'd feel comfortable with either of them going in there. Yeah. Probably from a defensive point of view. I think Cash showed again today what he's capable of from an attacking point of view. I think he likes to bomb forward and go on that overlap. But yeah, I think it probably will be Elmo. If it was me, I'd say Gilbert. But like I say, I'm probably biased by the kind of blood and thunder approach that he brings.
I think you can make a case for both. If you're looking at Burnley, you're going to play along and trying to play it in behind. Gilbert's pace to chase down balls is probably beneficial. If they're going to pump balls into the box and the back stick, Elmo clearing away headers at the back is probably what you want. I mean, it's a perfect example of different opinion. Two comments next to each other on YouTube. Will Mason's put Elmo, and the one underneath Corny says it's got to be Gilbert. So, like you said, you're probably comfortable with both there, aren't you? And whoever plays, you're not going to be thinking, we're going to miss Matty Cash, because I think he's clearly the best of the three. But I think both of those being understudies, you can make a case for either of them.
I think what I would say, probably Dean Smith had another option that he used at times towards the end of last season, and he put Ezri Konsa there. That's not happening anymore. Ezri Konsa's, staying as a solid centre half. So now we'll see. It's dilemmas for Villa to have, but I just think Smith will have been. He'll have been fuming, I think, when Matty Cash picked up a fifth booking of the season, and then Louise gets sent off. But I think his mood may have mellowed slightly by getting. He's probably taken an extra 2 points out of that game that he thought he was going to at one stage. So I think he'll just attack. He'll just attack the next game with confidence. It's been a really really weird season so far, hasn't he? Villa are just refusing to do draws, aren't they? They just won't do draws, and even in the last minutes of games. But yeah, I'm witching anyway. Next question. We're
going to stack on fullback and talk about Matty Targett. And Matty Targett gets a lot of stick, rightly so. Sometimes I think we spoke about him that he's a little bit flaky occasionally, and that if you had infinite budget, you'd think about improving left back. I thought he was very good this afternoon. You always look at it, don't you, and think, Traoré against Targett, that'll be dangerous. I thought he did all right. A couple of slide tackles come in, a couple of blocks. I think he tracked back well. So I think as much as we're quick to throw a bit of shade at Matty Targett from time to time, you've got to praise him when he's played well.
Well, he normally goes off after 5 minutes against Traoré. Neil Taylor comes on, so he must have known that Neil Taylor wasn't on the bench. So I thought they handled Traoré pretty well, to be honest. I thought they tried to double up on him when needed. I thought Matty Targett was solid. I thought the back. It's a weird thing to say because Wolves did create, did work Martinez quite a lot, but I thought the back four looked decent-ish. I think Mings has been done again, hasn't he? Been caught on the halfway line again, overplaying in the first half. That was the one that Martinez had to, like you say, be the sweeper keeper. But I thought the back four looked decent today, and another clean sheet away from home. He's pretty good going, I think. And Matty Targett, definitely contributed towards that.
There's a lot of people asking about Trezeguet in the comments, and again, that'll probably one that Dean Smith will be asked about as we speak. BT said something about a cut to the head. I don't know whether that's something he's picked up in training or he's had a fall down the stairs or something. People are saying he's done something to his hamstring, but the only thing BT have said is about this cut to a head, which you'd assume is just a clash of heads in training or something like that. The result of that is Traore comes in. Now, the game that he came on and got subbed on for Barkley, I can't remember when that was because memory's rubbish. I came on here and thought he did okay, and much of the comments dismay saying, "Oh, he wasn't anything special." I thought he did all right in that game. Today, especially in that first half an hour or so, every ball just seemed to bounce off him. He looked very uncoordinated, and you look at that right hand side again, and we've done our Player of the Year thing this week, haven't we? When we've put Trezeguet in there as a bit of a left field shout, and people going, Trezeguet, why? He's not even that good. And then you look at Traore to come in as the player to oust Trezeguet from that side, and he's not that great either. It's a bit of a problem position, isn't it, that none of them are that good, really?
Yeah, we had two wingers going for one space last season with Trezeguet and El Ghazi. We've probably got three wingers now. I mean, El Ghazi didn't do much, did he, other than win the game with a cracking penalty? But maybe he gets the shout, because I agree that that Traore, not theirs. Like you said, I thought he was careless in possession, to be honest. And you're not always going to get wingers creating assists and scoring goals, but you don't want them to. Sometimes you need them to be outlets who are giving you a bit of respite and helping you keep the ball. And I don't think that was the case, certainly in the first half. I think he was marginally better second half. But I think that position's up for grabs. If it was me, and Trezeguet is fit again, we'll await an update from Smith's press conference to find out whether his bleeding head and poorly hamstring will recover in time for Burnley. But he'd still be at the front of the queue out of those three to start in that position. It's one of those ones, isn't it, where if you've got a set 11 and a set way of playing that Dean Smith has, the players who are going to infrequently kind of gate crash their way into that, they're going to get such limited chances. They've got to nail it. They've got to be brilliant, haven't they? They've got to be 7, 8 or 9 out of 10s or even 10 during the brief games that they get. Otherwise, they're going to have to wait another, another month for their opportunity. I don't think Traore did enough to oust a fit again Trezeguet, to be honest. And it's hard because, like I said, the longer you wait for your opportunities, the more rusty you're going to be. It's going to be harder to make that impact. But that's what the Premier League's about, isn't it? And that's certainly what having a squad in the Premier League is all about. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Ash's player ratings. I'd be amazed if he gave him more than a 6 out of 10. I might go and try and seek him out now and see what he said.
Yeah, right. You come back to that. The bonus of doing these live is that people don't have to scream at their podcast device or YouTube screen when we make a mistake. Everyone's saying that Trezeguet cut his head in the last game against West Ham when the penalty was given. A lot of people keen to point that out, so thank you for rectifying my error. I've forgotten all about that, so I'll just assume that was 2 weeks ago. How is that still keeping him out of a match? So yeah, maybe it's something more than that. Like we said, we'll wait and see if anything comes of that. Also, a lot of comments coming in to say that West Brom are losing already. Lol. 23 seconds, Newcastle took the lead, apparently. So, no.
Just an update for you. Ash has given Traore a 4.
A 4? Wow, okay. So, I think that's probably fair. Yeah.
Which seems brutal to me. We're as a slight aside, we're looking to kind of not overhaul our player ratings, but we're looking to try and I don't know whether this will happen in time for the new year or maybe in time for next season. We want to kind of try and set a benchmark for what play. You could get 5 reporters at a game and they could all see it differently, and that will still be the case. And obviously that's the beauty of people bringing their own kind of their own views to it. But what does a 7 mean? How good or bad do you have to be to get a 7 out of 10? Has anybody ever deserved a 0? Has anybody ever deserved a 10? So we want to we're doing some, I know it's a bit of boring information for you.
Is this supposed to be a meeting? You do know there's 400 people watching this.
It's a planning meeting. We want to do some work behind the scenes to kind of get the fans involved as well, to almost measure what those benchmarks are, what those levels are. But clearly today will forever be defined as a 4. Bertrand Traore today was a 4, apparently, according to Ashley Priest. So there you go.
The player ratings and stuff like that is a bit like the legend, hero, icon debate, isn't it? Everyone's got their own opinion. I think is 6 out of 10 supposed to be average? Is that what people give as average these days? Like you start the game. You start the game with a 6 out of 10, and if you don't do anything terrible, you maintain that. Yeah.
If you do something brilliant, or you know what I mean, then it's you've got scope and potential to climb from there. I think I've only ever given it 10 months, and it was Brad Guzan away at Sunderland in a League Cup game. So there you go. That's the standard for everybody to aspire to.
So 10 is Brad Guzan away at Sunderland. Okay, noted.
He saved about 4 penalties, to be fair to him.
Yeah, I know the game you mean. Just lastly on the Trezeguet, El Ghazi, Traoré debate. If they're all fit, do you think if they're all fit, Trezeguet and Elmo against Burnley is the best combination because they link up good on that right-hand side? Because as much as that right winger position is a bit iffy at the moment, having Matty Cash there to not come and overlap is going to be a big miss. So do you play Gilbert and say, well, you push on and bomb on with Trezeguet and swap a little bit, or do you want Elmo to be a bit more defensive and you say to Traoré, you play wide and stay out there? It feels like we've got a few options. And as much as we've talked about Dean Smith and Villa not having many options beyond that first 11, which is still true to an extent, you still look at it and think, well, there is a few things that Villa could do. But if everyone's fit, Trezeguet comes in on that right-hand side and everyone will kind of look at it and go, he's okay, could be improved, but he's the best of the bunch. I
think you've just kind of answered your own question with the last phrase, the best of the bunch. Who's the best right back? Who's the best right winger you've got, and who's the best right back that you've got, and you pick those, and the professional players, you trust them to build their partnerships together, and to work against whichever opponent they've got. I think Trezeguet, we've just said, if he's fit, he's the best option on the right wing currently. And again, you can probably put a cigarette paper between Gilbert and Elmo in terms of what they bring. If it was me, I'd go with Gilbert right back and Trezeguet right wing. But it's not me, fortunately. It's Dean Smith, and I trust him to make a better call than I would. Talking to Dean Smith, that's his 500th. I hate when I just can't get a point out. Talking to Dean Smith, that's his 500th game in charge of not Villa, but in management as a whole. So Walsall, Brentford, and Villa. Not a bad way, is it, to round up the 500 with a last-minute winner? 500? How many would he have had at Villa now? 150? I don't know. I don't think it'd be that many, would it? It was October 2018, was it? 2019? Oh, his first season, wasn't it? Yeah. So 100 then, perhaps. He had the promotion season, the back end of that, full last season, and then so far this season. So yeah, 100 maybe, just over 100. I don't remember seeing a milestone at any point, so maybe it isn't even 100 yet. We'll have those up for a Dean Smith special podcast. Yeah, coming soon to you. How soon, we don't know. We'll do the maths. Go on. I've got nothing to say. You just ruined my point. What I said was it's nice to end a game like that, isn't it? Like you said before, we've been on the receiving end of some last minute goals, so it's nice of Villa to win a derby in that manner. Yeah, I think so. And obviously, Wolves had the measure of us last season, other than we beat their kind of 15-year-old reserves, I think, didn't we? Yeah. But the games, particularly the game at Molineux last season, I think they beat us 2-0, but they gave us a bit of a 2-0 spanking, I thought. And I've had this feeling, I don't want to tempt fate because, we look at the end of May and we'll see how the table looks, but I've had this feeling we have kind of closed this gap on them this season. Yeah. And I got that feeling before we went into the game. And I thought it was a very, very even game. And I thought probably obviously it could have ended in a draw, but I think Smith will be encouraged because he may use Wolves as a benchmark of what can be achieved quickly from a team that's an exciting team that's transitioning quickly and wanting to build. And I think he will have been encouraged by closing that gap. In the league, we've obviously gone above them and still got 2 games in hand on them. And I think the commentator said, obviously, I think we're going to touch on the Jimenez thing, but the commentator has said what a big miss Jimenez will be for Wolves. And I don't think they do kind of pose the same attacking threat without him. No. I thought Silva looked, had a few moments, probably had the best chance of the game when he came back off the post. But I think Wolves are going to have to find a way to play without Jimenez, whether they go into the transfer market in January. I'm not sure they will. It doesn't seem a very Wolves thing to do. To kind of almost buy not a panic buy, but you know what I mean, to strengthen mid-season to that effect. They'll know how long he's out for, though. Say again? They'll know how long he's out for, though. They haven't said, have they, yet, how long this injury is going to be. It's nice to see him back at the training ground the other day, and he said we were going to touch on it. And the aeroplane fly over, saying get well soon. They had the big banner that the fans made. I know this is a Villa podcast, but it's still a Midlands rival and a Midlands neighbour. You never want to see a player go through such a horrific injury.
So yeah, it's nice to see him back on his feet and back at the training ground. But from a football perspective, they do miss him. And I spoke to Alex with Ash yesterday to preview the game. And he was saying you could take a player like Raul Jimenez out of any team. It's like taking Harry Kane out of Tottenham, isn't it? He's a very, very good striker, and it's obvious to say that they're going to miss him. And what they do without him is the difference between them trying to break into Europe and the Champions League and a mid-table finish, probably. So how long he's out for is a big concern for Wolves.
Yeah, I don't think Wolves will finish in the European places without Jimenez, to be honest, unless they pull off like I say, we hope he makes a speedy recovery. Whether that speedy recovery is enough for him to return to playing, top flight professional football this season, I don't know. But I think, all right, I'll put me neck on the line here. I think Villa will finish above Wolves this season.
Interesting.
We've got a lot of Wolves fans and Wolves people amidst our ranks in terms of who work with us and who, the area where we live. Probably more. Yeah. We're both in the Black Country, both in Hales Owen, probably encounter more Wolves fans than the average Villa fan. I think we can do it. I think God forbid we don't have any horrific injuries of our own. But I think because Wolves are without this attacking threat now, and I think Villa don't like drawing games. I think Villa will get enough points to finish above Wolves. There you go.
Nice.
Wave that in front of me at the end of the season when I'm wrong.
All right, we'll clip that up ready on social media. A couple of little points before we leave. Jason Kerr says that Smith's 100th Villa game is Crystal Palace on Boxing Day, which is on BBC. It'll be a nice Christmas Eve treat, won't it? Villa on the TV for everybody.
Gruffalo's on that day as well.
Is it? I think Greece is on after the game as well. I'm surprised no one's made a joke about Greasy Grealish being on at 3 and then Greece at 5 or whatever it is.
Gruffalo, Grealish and Greece.
Nice, yeah. And we'll finish with Toby Turner, who says, Dan and Matt, what points would you like from the next 3? Now, off the top of my head, I don't know what the next 3 are. Do you?
Pull them up there. I know the next 2. It's Burnley and West Brom. Who's it after that? It's Palace, isn't it?
Is it Palace Boxing Day? Just
hastily Googling Villa's fixtures. Burnley at home.
It's out of the live stream.
Oh, yes. So it's Burnley at home.
Yeah.
Albion away and Crystal Palace at home. 9.
I think there's 9 points to be out there. I know technically, yes, obviously 3 games, 9 points available. But I think we can seriously get the 9 points. I don't know where they are in the league. Burnley, I think, are in the bottom 3. Albion are obviously, I was going to swear then, they're rubbish. And Crystal Palace are 12th. So if Villa are trying to push on to get into a steady top half finish this season, or even better than that, and finishing in the top 6, which sounds mental to say out loud, but Villa have got to be getting 7 points out of those next 3 as a minimum to be on track to keep pushing on. If you come out of that and you're looking at 4 or 3, then that's been a bad 3 games. But I think you can definitely come away with 9 there. And I know it's the Christmas period and it gets busy, and you can't just look at fixtures and go, oh yeah, well they're down the bottom, so that means we'll win. Because obviously I'm not silly enough to think it works like that, but a minimum 7 points, possible 9 is what I think we'll get. What do you think?
I'll be disappointed with less than 7, and I can actually. The cynic in the back of my head says, Matt, come on, this is Villa, and Villa have kind of thrown away points already, even this season, with games that we expected them to win, and then gone and beaten won games that we didn't expect them to win. But you're right, 2 of those games are at home, and we know we haven't got a full Villa Park cheering Villa on. Although, having said that, we're due a government announcement, aren't we? In a couple more days to find out what tier we're in. So we could find, we're still not going to get a full Villa Park, but, those, it won't happen in time for Burnley, but those, who knows whether that Boxing Day game could be the first game back that Villa have. A couple of thousand fans inside. But yeah, 7, in answer to your question, be great to go and have a crack at all 9, but I definitely think 7 are up for the taking.
I think, Crystal Palace is the trickiest one there. I think Burnley, it would be depending on whether we can break them down. Albion is a bit of obviously it's a derby and everything, and the cliche that anything can happen, but they are terrible. So if Newcastle can go ahead after 20 seconds, I think Villa can break them down. And then, like I said, Palace is probably the most difficult one there, and that's Boxing Day, and it is a little bit more hectic then. But we've had a couple of weeks off, haven't we, compared to everyone else? So I think Villa and Dean Smith will definitely go out there thinking let's attack it and get 9 points. And then you've got Chelsea on the 28th, I think it is. And you never know what happens.
Palace at home was my son's first. Palace at home on Boxing Day was my son's first game a few years ago, and when Dwight Gale spanked in the winner for Palace in the last minute down the north stand, and
he's still a Villa fan, is he?
Say again.
He's still a Villa fan, is he? Just
about, yeah. I remember I've probably told this before. I remember turning to him at the end of the game and saying, "What did you think of the game, Samuel?" And he just looked at me with this sad little look in his eyes, and I knew then he was Villa. Sad little look in his eyes. He said, "I like my crisps, Dad." Oh, well, fair enough. Hasn't been a wasted journey, has it?
That's the perks, isn't it? Get some crisps out of it, at least. We'll call it a day there, because I can feel us starting to ramble and lose our flow. I've got through all my notes, so that's why it's all gone downhill. Someone just said Barker will be back for the next few games. So, yeah, let's push on and get 9 points. I feel optimistic now that a last-minute winner will do this to me. But thank you very much, Matt, for joining me this afternoon. I really appreciate it. On Thursday, I think you're off. I think Ash is off, and I think James is off if he even bother to watch the games these days. So I'm either going to have to draft in the special guest or do it on my own. So hopefully, I can
do it as a monologue. That'd be great.
Oh, can you imagine half an hour me just sitting on my own? I mean, I could do it as like a Q&A for 10 minutes and speak with fans maybe.
Nah,
if I can't find anybody, but I'll find somebody.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're done. Let's get out of here. Thank everyone for tuning in. If you've been listening to this on iTunes after the fact or Spotify, then drop down and leave us a review. They're really much appreciated. Also, I got a little email through today from YouTube, like our 2020 stats on Claret and Blue, saying like your fans have listened to 150,000 hours of the podcast or something like that. So I pity you all. I'm very sorry that you have to hear our drony voices. And then I apologise to the YouTube community that you have to see our horrible faces as well. It must be really, really hard for you. Your big fat bald head, as you always like to call it.
That drives my self-esteem, this.
You always call it yourself. It's all right. Well, it's okay. We'll get you a wig or something for Christmas. But yeah,
I'd like hair like Silver, the Wolf Striker. I think it'd suit me.
Yeah, it would you? Yeah, I'll get you a wig for Christmas. You Secret Santa. I'll buy you a wig.
I'll do that.
But we've got loads of content coming up over Christmas. I've just alluded to a Secret Santa. We've got a little Christmas special that we're recording next week. We interviewed Stan Petrov a couple of weeks ago, which went out, when was that, Wednesday or Thursday? It's a very good episode, so do go back and watch that. Some really good stuff from Stan. We've got loads of stuff in the bag, haven't we? And it's going to be busy over the next few weeks, but stay with us. Stay tuned to Claret and Blue. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We've got a comment here that someone's watching from Australia. I love that. But yeah, let's get out of here. Thank you very much. Thanks you all, and we'll see you again on Thursday.
Cheers all. The Villa.